Bonjour à tous et bienvenue dans ce Summercamp, 6e épisode aujourd'hui. Je suis ravie de vous retrouver en ce 27 août 2020. Alors aujourd'hui nous avons donc deux épisodes, deux parties, une maintenant à midi et une autre qui aura lieu donc à 18h. Alors tout simplement, aujourd'hui, on va voyager un petit peu puisque donc ce midi, nous allons partir en Portugal et ce soir, nous partirons en Tunisie. Donc, bienvenue à tous. Merci à tous d'être présents ou d'écouter les replays. Je suis ravie que ça puisse vous aider. Donc, mon idée à la base, c'est vraiment de vous apporter une vision globale de ce que c'est que le personal branding, de vous montrer en fait des professionnels du personal branding ou des personnes qui incarnent le personal branding parce qu'elles ont été accompagnées ou parce que tout simplement je considère qu'elles sont une marque personnelle forte par elles-mêmes et de vous donner des pépites, des clés qui pourront vous aider à incarner votre marque personnelle au quotidien. Alors donc, sans trêve de bavardage, nous allons commencer avec notre cher Nelson Emilio qui nous vient du Portugal, qui est un stratégiste, le pionnier en fait au Portugal. Alors l'interview elle sera en anglais. J'essaierai de traduire certaines parties les plus intéressantes et puis les plus probantes, et les plus riche d'informations pour vous et pour ce que j'ai évoqué juste avant. Mais en tout cas, ça sera donc la plupart du temps en anglais et celle de ce soir avec notre amie Nadia Otmani sera en français. Voilà, donc pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas trop l'anglais, j'essaierai de faire le maximum pour que vous puissiez quand même avoir quelques pépites et quelques tips. Alors c'est parti. Souhaitons la bienvenue à Nelson Emilio. Hi Nelson, how are you?
Bonjour, good morning. I'm great, and you?
Great. I'm so happy to see you and to have you in this summer camp. I just say in French that we have 30 minutes together, and you are from the pioneer of personal branding in Portugal. Can you tell me more about you?
Well, I'm a 48 years old young boy, as I used to say, that started my career in training, so delivering and sharing content with others. And that training led me to the world of the multinational companies in the information technology. And that's where I discover, or maybe I rediscover, that we can make a difference when we interact with others, and we can have and leave a mark when we are interacting with them. So in my path in the IT world, I discover also that we can have, well, people that are not very authentic, neither genuine. So people that sometimes they want to take benefit from you and not helping you to grow. And that's where I saw people trying to create a character, to create something to show off, to show to the world that they were supposed to be leaders, that in fact they were no leaders. They were trying to create this character. So I decided to understand more how I work, how I work internally. I started to understand how this person works, and then I discovered this called personal branding. So we can undercover our potential and sometimes be aligned with who we are, and also sometimes, like the other person, create a character. So I decided when I left this company that I want to help leaders to really become leaders and not become bosses. Because I had a boss that was highly manipulative and tried to create an idea, a perception that he was a leader by trying to change several things in his behavior in order to create this perception. So, and I said, well, I need to help people to really, really understand how they work and how they can impact others and how can they impact everyone around, but in a very genuine position, in a very genuine approach, and really be interested by what other people do and empower them to be better leaders too.
Great. And when you discover the personal branding?
Well, I discovered because I saw at that time this boss with a book that was about personal marketing. It was not really personal, but personal marketing. And I said, wait, what is this? What is the personal marketing all about? Because I was not aware of this concept. So I went to Amazon to buy the same book, and then I discovered, well, this is interesting because this is a way for us to, well, to understand better how we work and how we impact others in everything that we do. And I start being more interested about the theme, the subject, and I read a lot about it. Then, well, I entered in the personal development area to take training for me to better understand me, and that was the starting point for the personal branding.
Great. And for you, because we have the same problem in France and in French-speaking countries, for you, what's the personal branding and what's the difference between personal branding and self-marketing?
Okay. Well, first of all, I usually define three different concepts. First is the personal brand. And we don't create a personal brand. We already have one. The problem is that most of us, we are not aware what is our brand and what our brand leaves in the mind and heart of others. What is the impact that our brand leaves in them, and what are their perception? And our personal brand is basically our essence. So it's everything that we have, everything that we do in terms of personality, the way that we dress, the way that we speak, everything that defines us. So we need to uncover our personal brand or rediscover our personal brand in order to better understand what is the impact that this brand has on others. And when we know that, then we can start working on it. And that's where the personal branding enters. So personal branding is a process to clarify and uncover, clarify our personal brand, the value that this personal brand has to everyone around us, and how can we leverage this not only to benefit us, but to benefit everyone that we interact with. And this is a continuous process. So it's nothing that we start and finish. So it's something that once we start it, because we need to be aware of what we are doing, it's a continuous process. And self-marketing, well, self-marketing is a way where we promote our brand, where we tell others what is our brand all about, what does our brand represent, and directly or indirectly, what value do we give to them? So what value, I mean, what is the benefit that everyone will receive when they work from us, emotionally and functionally.
Great. And when you discover the personal branding, what changements you see in your life?
What's the
changements, the difference you see in your life?
Yes, a lot of them, because the difference is, first of all, I start looking to me in a different way. So I discover things that I was not aware of, and I rediscover others. So I usually say that I rediscover a lot of my superpowers and discover another ones. And I start better understanding the way I interact with people and the impact I have on them. So for me, that's important, because as I'm aware of my behavior and I'm aware of the impact, then I can better provide a service. I can be a better friend, a better colleague, whatever, in terms of interacting with other people. Because our personal brand is about us, but it's not for us, it's for others. So if I know how do I work internally and how do I impact everyone around me, so I can improve even better, and even though I can be better, I also can solve some of the things that I don't like in my personality and people don't like too. Of course, we cannot please everyone, but we can adjust things in order to create a better impact in everyone around us.
Great. Thank you very much. And sorry, I have a blank. So you discovered the personal branding a few years ago, and you are the pioneer of Portugal. No, that's it, I think.
Well, I'm one of the first ones that
Yes.
Started personal branding. We already had people before me that was working, at least one that worked already in personal branding.
Okay, but now how the market, because in France we have lots of people who said I am an expert of personal branding, but there's no certificate, and what the public said about that, about the personal branding in the market.
Okay. Well, first of all, we see from some years until now that there are many people start joining the personal branding bus. So they enter in the bus. The problem is that some of them, they don't have the right knowledge to work on this area. Why? Well, they can learn, but the thing is, sometimes they read a book. Sometimes they think, oh, as I'm a coach, I also do personal branding. And coaching is one thing, personal branding is a different one. In personal branding, we have some approaches and some techniques, some methods, some tools from coaching, but it's more than that. Personal branding includes personal development, discovering, includes strategy, and also includes knowledge on social media, but I will say more than that, communication in general. And what I see in Portugal, but not only in Portugal, that some people that come from digital marketing, they say, well, I do personal branding. And some people that come from, for example, photography, well, I do personal branding too. And some people that come from communication, I also do personal branding. Well, in fact, they do a part of the process of personal branding. But to have the entire process, so these three main stages, it takes much more than that. Also, other professionals, they use tactics instead of strategies. And that's why sometimes a tactic, which is like, let's go to Instagram, let's go to Facebook, let's go to LinkedIn to promote ourselves, a tactic without a strategy doesn't work. It's short term. So it's important when someone wants to enter in the personal branding market, it's important to look for professionals, for example, like you or like me that already work in the personal branding area. They work with a lot of different professionals because for me, for example, I work with a lot of corporations, with leaders inside the companies, because one of my focus is the leadership area inside the personal branding, which I call the leadership branding. But I also work with coaches, with entrepreneurs, and also with sales teams. So the experience is different. And also I work with the multicultural companies because I work across the world. So when we have experience, we know what works and what doesn't work. And we can adjust. And also, like, for example, you have the representation of Reach in France to train people. And Reach is, well, the most well-known company who train professionals and certificate professionals in a specific methodology. Like, for example, I'm certified by Reach. But then, for example, I create another approach, which is, like I call it, an international certification too, and other people do that too. But they are very experienced in this area. And it's very important, and is an advice for someone who is entering this area. Please don't try to, well, do something, and because sometimes you might figure out that you are not doing the entire process of personal branding. You are doing a specific part, and that's okay. But it's important to be aware and to call things by the right name, and not saying that this is a full personal branding process. As an example, 2 weeks ago I was working with a professional in Brazil because she asked me help. And she said, well, I'm doing coaching and mentoring in personal branding, but now I have a problem because my clients are asking me things and I don't know how to address their needs. And why she could not address the needs? Because she was not really into personal branding. She had some knowledge about several things, and she tried to, well, to enter in the market without the right knowledge, without the right basis to do it. So, and she was in panic, and she asked me for help. And that's what happens sometimes. And the problem is not about us, it's about our clients, because we need to provide a very, very important service, which is about how they work, how they are perceived by others, and this is critical.
Great. And for your market, all corporations are okay to develop their personal branding, or sometimes you have people to, oh no, I don't want personal branding.
Yes, I found that in not only in Portugal but also in other countries. I found that sometimes people they don't want to hear about personal branding because they think they are trying to be someone that they are not themselves. So they think that they need, sometimes they associate that with politicians. For example, oh, I need to say something, but I will do another thing. I say no, but sometimes politicians also do the things that they say. Sometimes, but they think they need to create a character. They need to create something that are not aligned with them. And sometimes there is resistance to personal branding. Others, and I find a lot, which are professionals that they say, I want to work my personal brand, but I don't want people to know that I'm working my personal brand. Also because they think the perception of others will be, oh, this person is trying to create something that it's not related to him or related to her. But it's not easy. But although it's easier than some years ago, it's not easy. For me, for example, it's easier to work with leaders because they have very self-awareness and they know what they want. And when I come to them, I say, look, I have a leadership branding process, and they say, well, what is leadership branding? So it's working your personal brand, but focus on specific areas in leadership related to your team. And they are more open to it instead of saying, oh, this is a 100% personal branding, focus on you. Because sometimes people are afraid to discover things about them. They are afraid of, they know they have things they need to take out, but they are afraid of touching them. And sometimes they're afraid that other people will see that also when they are working on their personal brand.
Okay, great. And for you, what's your particularity, your brand, in fact?
I would say that, well, I have several, but one of, I would say my superpowers, okay? And superpower is, one of them is flexibility. I'm very flexible with everything because I think in the world that we live in, and even more, flexibility is very important. Also, trust is critical, and I work trust not only on me but also on my clients because it's fundamental. I say usually that we live in the trust economy because each even more people trust in people, and although they have a company behind and they have the logo behind, they trust in people. And we are used to say, well, we work with business to business or business to consumer. And now sometimes we use the word human to human, but it's not, it's person to person. Why? Because the word person comes from the Greek personare, and personare or persoare, and persoare is like having a mask and you talk through the mask. So we as a person, so the word person is like I have a mask. And I really have a mask. So when I'm working in the company, I'm probably the sales guy in front of the customer. But 5 minutes after, I'm a colleague of my colleague. And probably 10 minutes after, I'm the manager of a team. And as these roles in the company, I need to adjust what I say and the way I say it. So I'm working different personas. So for me, it's more person to person, and I need to understand what is the characteristics, the role of the person in front of me in order to adjust this trust. So, and the trust is important. Also, another one is connection. So for me, connection is probably the most important superpower that we all have and we can develop. Because when we connect with other persons, and connect means understanding, having empathy, and understanding what really that person wants, what is their concerns, what are their needs, and how can we fulfill their needs. And basically these are the ones that usually people say that I have, and I also recognize that that I have, and I can improve them too.
Great. That's super power. So do you have some, you speak about mask, and I think about the mask for COVID. Do you have some tips, some one tips maybe for people who want to embody or their personal brand and during this period, a complicated period?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, when you talked about the masks, I usually sometimes people say, well, but others, they are not going to see my mouth. They are not going to see that I'm smiling. Yes, they are, by your eyes. Because when you look to people, so your eye says a lot. But in these times of the pandemic and COVID and changing times, one of the things very important to work on our personal brand is to be present. Being present means independently if I'm away and I need to communicate with someone through a mobile phone or through a computer, I need to be completely there, present, which means I'm hearing what this person is saying, and I'm really concerned and focused on him or on her. And this is something very important, because sometimes when we are with the phone or with a computer, we tend to disconnect and look to other things and be distracted. So being present is very important. Also, caring. Caring for others, so understanding so how they are, so the empathy that I was telling about. And one important thing, be kind. Be kind is something that it's very important for us as human beings, as persons. And I usually have a sentence that says, well, don't be mean, don't be nice, but be always kind. Because kindness is something that we don't tend to use a lot, because from some professionals they think kindness is related to weakness, but it's not. It's one of the strong characteristics that we can use. But by being present, by caring, by being kind, we can strong and make our connection more strong, so strong in our connection, and people will notice that. People will understand that we are hearing them, caring them, and being concerned about them, and that starts leaving a mark in their minds and their hearts, because we want them to remember us by the good reasons.
Great. And on another subject, in France, we developed a specialty from personal branding, because we have lots of people, lots of strategists who coach about careers, but we have some of them who coach about love research, and someone on younger orientation. You in Portugal, what you see of the market?
Well, I also see specialization or differentiation, as you told, in different areas. Okay, so there are people that work with young people. Sometimes university people that come out from university. Also relations. Also leadership, personal branding as a whole. Some of them work with coaches. So there are different specialities, let's say. And that's very useful, because they are leveraging their background and probably what I call the previous life in the activities they had. And we, by using the personal branding and including their specialty, they can focus on a specific niche, and that helps them differentiate because to have the entire process and being like agnostic of our background sometimes is difficult. So if we leverage what we know, we can provide even a better service. But we also have a lot of professionals that have the entire process and they are specialized, for example, in corporate world and not having like a specific area.
Great. But you have the niche for love research or just for a professional?
We have one or two persons that work. Basically, they don't call sometimes personal branding because they say, well, sometimes people don't know what is personal branding. So for me, it's like working relationships and work in a process, a continuous process related to relationships. And during the process, they say, okay, I do personal branding specifically for relationships. But we have two people that work on that area here.
Great. Perfect. So we have 4 minutes for close that interview. Do you have something to say to our audience?
Yes. Well, it's about the characters, the masks that we are talking about. Today, in today's world, we have sometimes difficulties in striving because it's not easy working from home for many people. Others, they are they are seeing that their jobs might be in danger in the future. And first of all, change is the most constant thing that we have in the world. So we change every day. Our day today is different from yesterday, and tomorrow will be different from today. So it's important to adjust and to adapt. Now, when we are working and start working our personal brand, and if you are on that side working already in your personal brand, it's important to think about the impact that you leave on others and if this impact is aligned with your intention. Because sometimes we intend to do something, but then the impact is completely different. So think about it. And when you try to do something for your personal brand, don't try to copy others because it will not work. You have your own characteristics. And personal branding is all about looking to you, understand how you work, and then how can you be different from others? Because we are all different from everyone. But the thing is, we tend to do always the same thing. Because when we go to a social network, doesn't mean if it's Facebook, whatever, we see, oh, that person is having success. I'm going to do the same thing. But one thing is the things that this person does, and the other thing is what I'm doing. And sometimes what we see on social media, it's not 100% real. So people try to show something in order to create a perception in the mind of others that is not real. So focus on you, on understanding how you work, understanding what is the impact that you leave on others. If there is a gap, work on this gap. But always think, and I always like to use a sentence that is incorrectly attributed to Maya Angelou, but the author of this sentence is Carl Buhner, which is people will forget what you say, they will forget what you do, but they will never forget what you make them feel. And personal branding is all about make other people feel good by the good reasons, but in an authentic way.
Great. Thank you very much for all these tips. If we want to work with you or contact you, when we can show you?
Okay, first you can search on internet by Nelson Emilio on LinkedIn, for example, because that's my main social network. Also, you can look for two of my brands, which is Singularis Human Consulting in singularishc.com or Singularis Academy, which is my academy for training. But if you look for Nelson Emilio, you probably will find several things about me.
Okay, thank you very much. And I had your ID of Instagram in the comments.
Okay.
So thank you very much for these interviews. I just speak French a few minutes and I come back to you. Donc
Okay.
merci à
Thank
tous.
you, Lola, too.
Oh no, okay.
And and thank you,
Yeah.
you, and also everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Donc merci à tous d'avoir écouté cette interview. Donc Nelson Emilio, il nous vient du Portugal et il a travaillé donc dans différentes entreprises. Je mettrai d'autres traductions en commentaire. N'hésitez pas à aller voir le replay donc juste après l'interview. Si vous voulez le retrouver, vous pouvez aller le retrouver sur son compte Instagram, sur LinkedIn ou sur ses sites internet. Vous tapez Nelson Emilio sur internet, sur Google et vous le trouverez facilement. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you in interviews, and I think maybe we have another time together. Thank you
Merci
very much.
beaucoup. Merci beaucoup à tous et au revoir.
Au revoir. Have a good day.
You too.
Donc, et pour la suite, donc c'est à 18h sur la même chaîne. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.